Hello and welcome. You're watching This is Exclusive with me, Shavan Sen. Tonight we get you two stories, starting with the investigation done by our sister channel Republic Bangla on the illegal firecracker factories in West Bengal. And the other big story is with regards to the case registered by the Central Bureau of Investigation, a twist as far as the liquor gate is concerned. We tell you how an ED officer has now come under the scanner, and this was exposed by none other than its own agency, the Enforcement Directorate themselves. But up first, these are the headlines we're tracking for you at this hour. Firecracker factory blast in North 24 Parganas kills 9. Republic Bangla's investigation reveals the truth behind these illegal factories.
प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी ने निर्णय लिया है कि 200 रुपया गैस सिलेंडर के दाम कम किए जाएंगे। सभी उपभोक्ताओं के लिए 200 रुपये दाम कम होंगे।
Centre's big bonanza, sources suggest Centre to slash 200 rupees per cylinder under Ujjwala scheme. Opposition links pro-people move to elections. Mamata says impact of I.N.D.I.A meetings. Lobby officially comes out in support of I.N.D.I.A block. Chief Justice of India asks for a roadmap for Jammu and Kashmir. Solicitor General says Centre intends to restore full statehood when deemed fit.
जहां पर हिंसा हुई है, मामन खान 28, 29 या 30 तारीख को वहां पर गया है। वहां के लोगों को ये उनके साथ लाइव कांटेक्ट में रहा है।
Haryana Home Minister Anil Vij's massive charge alleges Congress MLA's direct link to violence in Nuh. Global leaders to converge in New Delhi, 12 days to go for the biggest global event, G20. Ladies and gentlemen, we're beginning with a Republic Bangla investigation. For several months put together, we've highlighted how these illegal firecracker factories have been operating in Bengal. Not for the first time, for several years put together, this has been exposed, but very little has essentially been done by the West Bengal government. The details that is essentially emerging right now with regards to the Neelganj Barasat area in West Bengal's North 24 Parganas district, where a blast, an explosion took place at an illegal firecracker factory that left 9 dead, 7 injured. But the bigger question is, was a multi-story building blown away in few seconds, and how could that be possible? Republic Bangla's investigation reveals a darker truth. At the spot stands the shattered house where the illegal firecrackers factory was operational, surrounded by scores of devastated thatched roofs, houses, signifying the impact of the blast. But what was significant to notice that there were many more illicit explosive factories in the vicinity. Take a look at this ground report, and then we go across to our colleague Arnab for the latest details.
The Neelganj Barasat area in West Bengal's North 24 Parganas district is shaken. This 2 days after a blast at an illegal firecracker factory left 9 dead and 7 injured, with some of the deceased body parts found even meters away.
DSP ranked officers come here for NIA and they will collect the preliminary information, and right now police officers barricade this area totally, and two fire tenders are also here. At least 8 persons has been died at this incident, and 1 person has been arrested by district police.
The first arrest was made in the case yesterday. The arrested person, named Shafiq Ali, known to be the partner of Keramat Ali, who was the owner of the fireworks factory and died in the explosion. The 1.5-story building was turned into debris, while the concrete house just behind the blast site is also partially damaged. But how did the multi-story blast off within seconds, killing 9 people? What's the truth behind the illegal cracker factory? Republic Bangla went inside the factory of Keramat Ali, and the revelations were shocking. The dead owner of the illegal factory, Keramat Ali, had a huge storage of heat-punching machine for making crackers. Explosives like PPN, Xylex, glycerine were found.
Police arrested 1 person named Shafiq Ali alias Shafiqul Islam. He was a partner of this firecrackers workshop owner Keramat Ali, and workshop owner Keramat Ali is also died with his son at this firecrackers.
Just behind the factory is a China chemical chamber, which is also illegal in the state, and harboring in it was a laboratory of illegal chemicals and substances.
Here is a firecrackers workshop. Into this workshop several firecrackers machine established here, and as per sources and as per investigation sources, these machines and this workshop is totally illegal.
Our investigation took us to another illegal factory which was stuffed with gunpowder. The Republic Bangla investigation clearly reveals how the illegal cracker factory is a reality in West Bengal. Bureau Report, Republic TV.
Well, what really emerges from this investigation that has been carried out by our sister channel Republic Bangla is the fact that such illegal factories do exist. And the very fact that despite the kind of promises that have essentially been made by the state administration that there would be a crackdown, that hasn't really happened on the ground, especially if you take a look at what Arnab and my other colleagues had to report from the ground. Joining us on this broadcast is Arnab, who's there getting us a sense of what's really happening in terms of the investigation that's been carried out. In fact, as I understand, the National Investigation Agency has also stepped in. A team, a local unit of the National Investigation Agency is also looking at whether at all this factory that was operating did it have some sort of a backing, and whether at all there is a larger group that operates and has been given some sort of a political patronage. Let me quickly go across to my colleague Arnab to get a sense. Arnab, just give us a sense of what is it that you found so far? How is it possible that so many of firecracker factories are still operating despite the kind of promises that have been made by the state administration?
देखिए, बंगाल में ये पहली बार नहीं, इसके पहले भी बहुत सारे जगह ऐसे हैं, पूर्व मेदिनीपुर और साउथ 24 परगना के बहुत ऐसे सारे जगह है जहां पे ये ब्लास्ट होने की जो घटना वो घट चुकी है। लेकिन उसके बाद भी अगर देखा जाए तो हर एक जिले में, मुर्शिदाबाद, पूर्व बर्धमान, पूर्व मेदिनीपुर, ये बहुत सारे ऐसे डिस्ट्रिक्ट है जहां का एक ग्राम है जहां का मेन जो रोजी रोटी है वो ये फायर क्रैकर से, लेकिन पुलिस की तरफ से जो इलीगल फायर क्रैकर्स फैक्ट्री है उसके खिलाफ कोई भी एक्शन कभी भी नहीं लिया गया, क्योंकि आज भी दत्तपुकुर का जो वहां पे जो रहते उन लोगों का जो कहना है, पुलिस ने लाखों रुपया वहां से जो एक्सटॉर्शन मानी वो उठाया और उसके बदले में वो लोग एकदम शांति से वहां पे जो उनका जो कारोबार है वो चला सके, इसलिए वो लोग एक्सटॉर्शन मानी भी देते रहे, लेकिन पुलिस की तरफ से कभी कोई स्टेप नहीं लिया गया। और जो लेबोरेटरी वहां से मिला है उसका जो सैंपल, वो सैंपल अभी एसएफएसएल स्टेट फॉरेंसिक लैब के तरफ से वो सीज किया गया है, उसको एग्जामिनेशन के लिए भेजा गया है। लेकिन वहां का जो लोकल ऑफिशियल्स है उन लोगों का जो कहना है कि ये सिर्फ जो फायर क्रैकर्स वो तैयार करने के लिए बनाया गया था, लेकिन यहाँ पे कोई भी ऐसी चीज नहीं मिला कि जिससे ये इससे कोई खतरनाक बॉम्ब बन सके। लेकिन जो इन्वेस्टिगेशन, नेशनल इन्वेस्टिगेशन एजेंसी का मानना है कि वहां पे सिर्फ फायर क्रैकर्स का ही जो गन पाउडर या जो फायर क्रैकर्स का जो मसाला होता है वो नहीं था, उसके अलावा भी बहुत सारे ऐसे मटेरियल्स थे जिसके वजह से इतना बड़ा ब्लास्ट हुआ। और जो जहां पे ब्लास्ट हुआ वहां से 40 मीटर की पूरा जो रेडियस है वो पूरा इलाका एकदम तहस नहस हो गया, क्योंकि वहां का जो इम्पैक्ट पड़ा जाके बहुत दूर तक जो घर है, घर का कांच टूट गया, घर का टीवी गिर गया, ऐसा हालत है वहां पे। फिर भी अगर देखा जाए आज सुबह तक, आज शाम तक भी बहुत सारे ऐसे वेयर हाउस मिले जहां पे बहुत सारे क्वांटिटी का जो फायर क्रैकर्स, जो बम टाइप का फायर क्रैकर्स है जो वेस्ट बंगाल में इलीगल है, वैसे फायर क्रैकर्स मिला। ऐसा बहुत गोडाउन का आज भी वहां पे खोज मिला है।
Well, let me also take one more question with Ordub. Ordub, you are saying that the very fact that this existed, locals were aware of it. Was there any sort of complaint that was filed by anyone? If so, why wasn't any action taken?
देखिए, जो लोकल पीपल है उन लोगों का कहना है कि इन लोगों के पीछे जो पॉलिटिकली बहुत सारे ऐसे स्ट्रांग लोग हैं जिनके के अंडर रह के ये लोग ऐसे फैक्ट्री चला रहे हैं, और वो जो पॉलिटिकल पावर है उसको ही वो लोग एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन को मैनेज करने के लिए भी काम करवाते हैं। और इसके बदले में उन लोगों को लाखों की एक्सटॉर्शन मानी दिया जाता है। इसीलिए जब भी लोकल पीपल इसके खिलाफ आवाज उठाया या किसी ने जाके कंप्लेन किया, उन लोगों को धमकाया गया, डराया गया है। और जिस तरीके से डराया गया है, आज भी जब नया जो फायर क्रैकर्स का वेयर हाउस मिला तब भी उसका मालिक कौन है वो बोलने से लोग डर रहे थे, क्योंकि अगर थोड़ी दिन बाद जब वहां से पुलिस निकल जाएगा, कोई भी नहीं रहेगा, तब उन लोगों के ऊपर अटैक हो सकता है। इसके ऐसा डर उन लोगों के मन में है, तो वो लोग पहले कंप्लेन कर चुके थे एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन के पास, लेकिन जब उन लोगों से कोई भी रिस्पांस नहीं मिला, उसके बाद ही वो लोग बोल रहे हैं कि पुलिस को एक्सटॉर्शन मनी देके ये लोग ऐसा काम चलाते हैं और कोई भी उन लोगों को कुछ नहीं कहता है। शाउन।
Well, thank you very much, Ordub, for getting us the latest details. In fact, this has also led to some sort of a political war between the Bharatiya Janata Party and Trinamool Congress. In fact, a plea has also been moved before the High Court, which was rejected. But having said that, with regards to the investigation that has been carried out so far, the national investigation in the past has also essentially raised concerns about the fact that how there has been some sort of a political patronage provided to these very factories that have been operating. In fact, there is a larger clientele that is based there. Despite the kind of assurances that have been made in the past, particularly coming in from the ruling dispensation, that there would be an absolute crackdown as far as these illegal factories are concerned, there has been very little movement on the ground. And not just in North 24 Parganas, remember the other districts too, where such reports have also come in the past. But despite that, very little movement has actually taken place. Shifting focus now to the other story that we're getting to you tonight on This Is Exclusive. Well, there has been a massive twist in the liquor game. The Enforcement Directorate has in their investigation that has been carried out so far, they found out that there was an extortion racket that was going on. This was in a bid to help one of the accused, Amandeep Dhal. In fact, it turns out that one of the ED officers who isn't linked to the liquor probe was the one who was actually striking a deal with Amandeep Dhal's father. Along with him was another chartered accountant. And not just that, we're also given to understand that there was an upper divisional clerk who was also involved. Enforcement Directorate thereafter carried out searches. This was when they received a tip-off that such a group was actually meeting in the national capital in one of the luxury hotels, outside a luxury hotel. And through CCTV footage, they found out that there was exchange of cash. Based on this very case, the Central Bureau of Investigation has also now stepped in. What we are putting across right now on our screens are also those who have been booked in this particular case. Mind you, the Enforcement Directorate themselves had actually informed the Central Bureau of Investigation about this extortion racket, and based on which, just about 24 hours ago, an FIR has also been registered by the Central Bureau of Investigation. The Aam Aadmi Party has now jumped in, raising questions about the investigation that has been carried out so far. But top sources indicate that the ED officer who has been booked, Pawan Khatri, is an official who wasn't really linked to the liquor probe. However, having said that, there is evidence that has been gathered by the Enforcement Directorate about his alleged involvement, along with the relatives of one of the accused in liquor scam, that is Amandeep Dhal's father, who was in touch with the Enforcement Directorate's officer, along with him a chartered accountant who has also now come under the scanner. The Enforcement Directorate, as we understand, they've also now come across evidence in terms of money that has been found or recovered when the searches were carried out by the Enforcement Directorate. On your screens right now, the latest details that are now coming in. We'll just go across to Abhishek Kapoor in a short while from now to break it down for our viewers as to what does this essentially mean. Keeping in mind, Aam Aadmi Party has now raised concerns about the investigation that has been carried out. They say that this investigation has been completely malign and perhaps should also be junked, given the fact that Enforcement Directorate's own officer has now been caught red-handed. But the fact of the matter is that it turns out that the Enforcement Directorate, the moment they came across the details of this case, they've also informed the Central Bureau of Investigation, the nodal agency in the liquor gate, and they have registered a case. That's the latest that we are picking up at this point in time. We'll try and see if we can go across to Abhishek Kapoor in a short while from now to try and break it down for our viewers in terms of what does this essentially mean, given the fact that we are getting in right now in terms of questions that are being raised in the investigation carried out so far. That's all that we could pack in this edition. Slipping into a short break. On the other side, news and updates continue. On the other side, global leaders to converge at New Delhi, 12 days to go for the biggest global event, G20.
The Amity BBA has been ranked India's #1 BBA in the Times of India B-School 2022 rankings. To apply, visit amity.edu.
And still on the G20, even as the top leaders are expected in New Delhi in a few days' time, with just a few days to go for that big summit, Russian President Vladimir Putin has said that he will not be attending the summit, as he dialed Prime Minister Modi on Monday to convey his inability to do so. He said that Russia will instead be represented by its Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov.
Ahead of G20 summit, Russian President Vladimir Putin held a telephonic conversation with Prime Minister Modi. Putin himself conveyed his inability to attend the G20 summit in New Delhi on 9 to 10 September 2023 over the phone. He said Russia would be represented by Foreign Minister of the Russian Federation, Mr. Sergei Lavrov. Apart from this, the two leaders reviewed progress on a number of issues of bilateral cooperation and exchanged views on regional and global issues of mutual concern. Putin also congratulated India on Chandrayaan-3 success while considering it as a reaffirmation to boost ties in space sector. Looking forward to boost ties in energy sector, the leaders agreed for mutual disposition of implementation of large-scale projects. Since Putin skipped BRICS meeting, he took stock of the key developments of recently concluded summit. Expressing an understanding for Russia's decision, PM thanked President Putin for Russia's consistent support to all initiatives under India's G20 presidency. With global leaders likely to discuss Ukraine crisis in the summit, it might be the core reason behind Russian president shying away from all such international events. Bureau Report, Republic TV.
World leaders for the G20 summit. From delegate to the summit venue, there's a wave of G20 posters as preparations are on in full swing. On every flyover, for example, we bring you
Well, a day after flags of Imran Khan's party was recovered from Jammu and Kashmir, similar sorts of flags have also been recovered from Tarantaran. My colleague Amandeep gets you this century laminate report.
Imran Khan's political party flag, Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf, has been recovered in Punjab's border district Tarantaran. This flag is tied with 30 to 40 balloons, and this flag has been recovered by a local resident of Shahbazpur village that is exactly located on the international border of Pakistan in Punjab. And even this flag was tied with the balloons, and immediately locals have informed the police and handed over all the balloons along with the flag to the local police for the further investigation. This flag mentioning PTI and even the written in the Urdu as well. And in fact, the locals were not able to understand what all is mentioned at the flag. And now the police is further investigating the entire matter, that how flag has reached to the Indian territory just because the western borders were continuously on the target of the Pakistani drug smugglers, and they try to send the drugs consignment through drones, through pipes, through hooks and several other means also. And each and every attempt has been foiled by the BSF and the Punjab police at the western borders as well. But now the police is smelling this might be the another modus operandi of the Pakistani drug smugglers, that they are trying to deliver the consignment of the drugs through balloons and even through flags as well. So they are searching the area. The police is further probing the matter, and in fact they are also questioning the people who actually are staying nearby the international border as well, just because continuously BSF along with the Punjab police, they have carried out several operations at the international border of Punjab, just because the cross-border drug smuggling is happening, and there are certain elements who are in touch with the Pakistani drug smugglers as well, who are receiving the drugs consignment, and in fact who are continuously in touch with the Pakistani drug smugglers as well. So now a new modus operandi might be a new modus operandi of the Pakistani drug smugglers, just because the police is probing the matter along with the assistance of border security force in the international borders of Punjab as well, just because the Punjab's western borders are on the high target of Pakistani drug smugglers.
Chopra, the Olympic champion. Neeraj Chopra really like that. He looked brilliant in qualification, and that is another great throw from the Indian athlete.
And still on the G20, even as the top leaders are expected in New Delhi in a few days' time, with just a few days to go for that big summit, Russian President Vladimir Putin has said that he will not be attending the summit, as he dialed Prime Minister Modi on Monday to convey his inability to do so. He said that Russia will instead be represented by its Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov.
Ahead of G20 summit, Russian President Vladimir Putin held a telephonic conversation with Prime Minister Modi. Putin himself conveyed his inability to attend the G20 summit in New Delhi on 9 to 10 September 2023 over the phone. He said Russia would be represented by Foreign Minister of the Russian Federation, Mr. Sergei Lavrov. Apart from this, the two leaders reviewed progress on a number of issues of bilateral cooperation and exchanged views on regional and global issues of mutual concern. Putin also congratulated India on Chandrayaan-3 success, while considering it as a reaffirmation to boost ties in space sector. Looking forward to boost ties in energy sector, the leaders agreed for mutual disposition of implementation of large-scale projects. Since Putin skipped BRICS meeting, he took stock of the key developments of recently concluded summit. Expressing an understanding for Russia's decision, PM thanked President Putin for Russia's consistent support to all initiatives under India's G20 presidency. With global leaders likely to discuss Ukraine crisis in the summit, it might be the core reason behind Russian president shying away from all such international events. Bureau Report, Republic TV.
प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी ने निर्णय लिया है कि 200 रुपया गैस सिलेंडर के दाम कम किए जाएंगे। सभी उपभोक्ताओं के लिए 200 रुपये दाम कम होंगे।
That is the centre's big bonanza. It has slashed 200 rupees per cylinder under the Ujjwala scheme. The opposition linking this pro-people move to elections. Mamata Banerjee says this is the impact of the INDI alliance meetings. The lobby officially coming out in support of the INDI bloc. Key meeting to be held in Mumbai tomorrow. The CJI is asking for a roadmap for Jammu and Kashmir. The Solicitor General says the centre intends to restore full statehood when deemed fit.
जहां पर हिंसा हुई है, मामन खान 28, 29 या 30 तारीख को वहां पर गया है। वहां के लोगों को ये उनके साथ लाइव कांटेक्ट में रहा है।
That is the Haryana Home Minister and his massive charge. He says a Congress MLA is directly linked to